Hello. How are you today?
Extremely well.
Yes. Thank you for everything. I am here with my mother. One of my big questions or asks was to get all my friends and my family to be on the same path as me, which is a happy vibrational path. And all that has happened. And I was just telling my mom, oh, how awesome is it that all my friends are on it and you're here with me today. And
our wish
really
for you is that you develop new friends who aren't on it.
Absolutely.
Because contrast is such a wonderful thing that will serve you.
Absolutely.
We're playing with you a little bit, but what we're wanting to do is to talk you out of wanting to control conditions so that you can have a more positive feeling response. We want you to say, Abraham, hardly anybody I know is on my wavelength yet, but I'm so in tune with my inner being that I see them all through the eyes of Source, and so they're all beautiful right where they stand.
That's wonderful.
That's really what's happening. That's really what you mean. It's you that's changed, not them. It's the eyes of you that this conversation is about, more than it is them all acquiescing to your path. None of them will be on your path. Your path is moving so fast. Don't ask them to keep up. Don't ask them to keep up.
Sorry, Mom.
Especially mom. Especially mom.
You know, it's really good hearing you say that, because my business partner and I, we went to go see you in Colorado last year. And since then, so much bad stuff has happened. And because we saw that contrast, now we're like, oh, bad stuff's happening. You know what that means? Good stuff's coming. And every single time.
You know what that means? Clarity's coming, decision is coming, decisiveness is coming, deliberate intention is coming, the ability to focus is coming, the desire to focus is coming, the utilization of our guidance system is coming. Yes. Yes.
So I have such great appreciation for everything that's happening. I have employees and development teams, and I own a couple of businesses, and I'm not saying any of that to brag. I'm saying that because I want to know how is it that I could attract more people that are willing to work as hard as my business partner and I, so that way we can move even faster. Because right now the delegation is one of the things that I think we both struggle with.
You're helping us to wrap this up sort of in the way that we began it today, because we said, we know you'll remember it as we say it again, that every empire is 99.999999% finished before you put the first nail in the first board, or before you hire the first employee. Because once you have a facility and a product and functions and employees, then there is always something to see that has the potential of taking you out of your alignment. So it's easier to dream it when there's nothing to contradict it than it is to be living some of it that is contradicting it. However, it's so much more satisfying to dream it and then live it, and then clean up what you're living by dreaming more. In other words, all that this conversation is about all day long here today, the clarification that is the new emphasis that we are really wanting those like you to feel, is that you're never going to reach the place where you can be lazy with your thoughts. You're never going to have the perfect set of employees that will never bounce off into something that is more. We had a conversation just a few weeks ago with someone who was talking about her business, and she used the word vehicle. And so we seized on that word because it gave us the opportunity to present something so easy to understand and so accurate. We said to her, you're in this vehicle and you're moving along, and it's taking you on a nice ride, and then you just step out of that vehicle into another vehicle, and it takes you on a nice ride too. And then you step out of that vehicle into another vehicle, and it takes you on a nice ride too. And there's a never-ending stream of new vehicles for you to step out into in that next logical step sort of way. And then we said something that shook her right to the core of what was stuck in her vibrational craw. We said, you know what's happening with you? You want to find a vehicle that will take you all the way to everywhere that you're going. You're not willing to change employees, change business plans, add new products, eliminate some product. Your vortex is full of potential unfolding that you can never see from where you stand.
The journey is the destination.
The journey is what it is all about. The destination is the reason for the journey, and the journey is what rings your bells. The next logical step is as good as it gets, you see. So that's why we're asking you to step out of the details of what you're living and just dream a little bit in general terms. My business is really fun, and it feels never ending, and it just gets bigger and bigger. And the influx of people that are interfacing with it, both those that help us grow it and those that are the consumers of it, flow with such ease and abundance, and the interchange is so satisfying. The abundance that flows from this business of mine is so satisfying and so supportive of so many and so much. The details of the well-being are so extreme, and the satisfaction that I experience are beyond anything that I can detail completely. As you step into this general place of acknowledging the universe's ability and desire to keep you inspired and uplifted, when you made the decision to come into this physical experience, one of the first things that you translated into words that felt really meaningful to you was this phrase: I want to fulfill my reason for being. I want to fulfill my life's purpose. I want to fulfill the reason that I came into this physical body to begin with. And what those words really mean is that I want to find the satisfaction of hooking up with my inner being as I romp through life. Because you're not ever going to fulfill all of the purposes, because the purposes keep growing. There's not going to ever be a day that there's not something beyond what you are now living that you are wanting. And there are parents all over the world that are telling their children, that's wrong, that's greedy, that's entitled, you never get enough. And the correct answer to that question is no. I never get enough. There will always be more. There will always be more, because with each contrast that gives birth to each rocket of desire, and as I close that gap and achieve the manifestation of it, right along with the achievement of that manifestation that others can see and hear and smell and taste and touch too. Oh, look at them, look what they created. Right along with that is a new set of contrasting experiences which launch more rockets, which give you more opportunity for satisfaction. It never ends, it never ends, it never ends, it never ends, it never ends. And you, dear hearts, you said, from your vibrational vantage point, as you made the decision to come into this body, into this time and space, you said, I will go and explore the contrast. I will immerse myself in the contrast, because I know that in doing so, new will be hatched within me. New that I cannot trust at first, because there's no basis of believing in it in physical manifested reality. But I will be able to trust it nonetheless, because my inner being will know it, and I will become so acquainted with what it feels like when my inner being is focused upon something that I desire, that I will let my inner being and how my inner being feels be my guiding light, not the reality of what physically has manifested so far. I will be the one that finds the new desire. Step one is where all creation happens. Step one, that step you all want to leave out. That step one where there's resistance. That's the step that makes it all happen. And step two is your source energy shoring that up, believing in what you ask for and knowing the perfection of it and holding the vibrational autonomy of it. And then you, doing nothing more than selfishly caring about how you feel. So you reach for the thought of believing in it rather than the thought of doubting it. You reach for the feeling of love rather than the easier feeling of hate. You reach for the feeling of positive expectation, even if there isn't a manifested reason for it. And then another vehicle, and another vehicle, and another vehicle, and another vehicle. And you never become those physical beings who say, oh, I can't wait till I die so that I can rest in heaven. Instead, you say, what's more, what's more, what's more, what's more, what's more, what's more, what's more. And when you get hooked in with those like us, who know the more that you've already asked for, who not only know what you've asked for, but where you stand in relationship to it, and who know what your vibrational warfare is, what your spiritual warfare is, which means, we like that term, terrible as it is, know where your points of resistance are. Since we know what your path of most resistance is, or your path of least resistance, or better stated, your path of most allowance, we can lead you to the ridiculous idea of prying your washer open with a crowbar, which will lead you to the feeling of freedom of your clothes being freed from the bondage of the maniacal washing machine, which can lead you to the humor and the fun with a new friend who knows for sure or wants to believe that you're not really going to pry open your new washing machine with a crowbar, which leads you to the fun that leads you to the idea, that leads you to the impulse, that leads you to the phone call, that leads you to the result that you want. There's always a path of least resistance. You just got to stop beating up on yourself on how hairy the path is and just start, as you said, wisely enjoying the journey.
Enough. Thank you.
We have enjoyed this interaction more than we can explain to you with Esther's words, but not more than you can feel if you try just a little bit. We feel such eagerness and such eagerness and what we are feeling is such eagerness and anticipation and eagerness. We feel eagerness and anticipation about what's going to unfold for you in the next days, because your point of awareness has shifted forever.